So last summer at the Olympics we got this like kinesio tape, and if you don't know what kinesio tape is, it's tape you put on your body when it's hurt and it's supposed to help heal. My leg hurts and I'm tired of being hurt, so I'm just gonna put this stuff on it, even though I leave for Las Vegas tomorrow and I really only need this for the next 6 hours, but what can you do? Oh wow, it's already pre-cut pieces. Well, that's when you know it's special. Sorry, there's probably a ton of leg action. I need to make this whole thing tan while I'm in Vegas all week so I can be tan for my own wedding. I gotta stand up and actually... let's see. Can Steele do this by himself? This KT tape is a year old at this point, almost a year old. So, let's see how long and how well it actually holds up. I don't think I explained it at all in my last video, but when I was at the trial meet last week, I had a leg injury. That's why at the beginning of the video I was getting stretched out. I rarely ever get stretched when I'm warming up, but it was hurting so bad to the point where I couldn't straighten out my leg. And then I had a week off, and then I had one day on, and now it hurts the exact same. But I'm leaving tomorrow for Las Vegas for my friend Colin and Amanda's wedding, and that's what this whole video is about. It's 6 a.m. on Wednesday, May 31st. I leave in 15.5 hours for the Las Vegas. I was going to say the airport, but my flight leaves the airport in 15.5 hours. It's going to be a really long day. First on the list, Bible study. Yo, Hills. Where are we going?
Vegas. First ever.
Are you going to party? What's wrong with you?
With my water bottle.
Babe, I'm only 20. Oh,
You're gonna have to turn around.
I'm gonna go home.
You caught me like mid-yawn.
I did. Where are we?
No. Vegas, Vegas, let's go to bed.
You gonna hit the slots?
Yeah, they're like right over there. I've got about $5 to spend, so we better go hard.
Says who? We didn't budget this. So this is absolutely 1000% my fault. So the beginning of this video, that was all I shot from the trip to Las Vegas. When I was out there, we were so busy just putting together the reception venue and stringing lights, and literally I was cutting like pieces of lumber and big 12-foot pieces of wood, sticking them in the ground and hanging lights for the reception. I didn't bring my camera with me to that stuff because A, it was 104 degrees out every single day, which kind of felt nice, so hopefully I look a little more tan. And second, we were working with like wood and stain and power tools, and I did not want to risk anything with my camera, so nothing else got filmed on that trip. But to make up for it, I was going to separate that video from the video I filmed today, but I'm just going to mush them into one, and it's going to be like a 20-minute video. So buckle up, because it's about to be Q&A time. Oh yeah. Good thing that all landed in the sink. I was not watching. So much steam. Alright, I haven't made a video in like a week and a half, and I have coffee, so it's time to do a Q&A. So for this Q&A, I asked you guys on Instagram to send me questions because this was an Instagram-only Q&A. The last Q&A I did, which was like back in October, was only YouTube questions, so I thought I'd mix it up a bit. First question, favorite coffee and how much do you drink daily? Well, this is my second cup, and it's 7 p.m. and this is a good day, so let's go with a lot and anything that is not drip coffee. How many hours have you spent playing Skyrim? Way too many. That being said though, I haven't really played many video games this entire year. I don't think I've even played Skyrim yet this year, but I do love that game a lot. Have you ever been to Germany? I've been to Germany a few times. So as I was reading through all the comments and the questions on Instagram, I kept seeing a lot of people leave the question of, what is your testimony? Tell us your story. How did you come to know the Lord? And that is something I want to go incredibly in-depth with in the future. I'm not gonna do it in a Q&A because I have this cool documentary styled plan for that video, and it's going to go very in-depth about my spiritual journey and my walk with the Lord and where I was a few years ago to where I am now. And that's something that is so important and something I want to share, and it's something I share every time I go and speak to churches or youth groups or just to groups in general. It's something I share every time, but for a video purpose, it's something I want to do right. It's something I want to take time and put effort into. I don't want to just explain things through Q&A, but rather I'd rather go in depth with my storytelling abilities and with my ability to tell stories cinematically as well. I think it's going to be a cool video, and I think it's going to be something that's going to take a long time to create, but that pre-production process has already been started. Now it's just figuring out a way to properly tell my story in depth the way I want to tell it. So for everyone that was asking for that, it's coming. I don't know when it's coming, but it's coming. Another common theme I saw when I was looking through all these questions and comments was asking about when Hillary and I met, where Hillary and I met, how Hillary and I met, and kind of what our story together is. And there's actually a fun fact. The last Q&A I did, I think maybe last one or 2 ones ago, Hillary and I answered that question together, and we sat down side by side in a video and did that. But that video got scrapped because the audio was out of sync and I wasn't able to sync it up properly, and it was only coming out of the left channel instead of both stereo channels, so it was a nightmare. So we have filmed that in the past, but we're gonna have to refilm it in the future, and that's something I want to do with her. I don't want to just be the only one telling you our story without her here next to me. So yeah, I guess that's 2 more video ideas right there. How did you find out that you love photography? I kind of developed this love for photography over the past 12 months. So as you guys know, and as you can go back and see, I've been making videos on this YouTube channel forever, and by forever I mean like 5 or 6 years now, which is a really long time because I started making them when I was 15, and now I'm turning 21 next week. Like, I filmed my 16th birthday, and I'm probably gonna film parts of my 21st birthday. To me, that's wild, just that I have that documentation. But my love for photography kind of stemmed from that desire of filmmaking. By picking up photography and picking up 35mm film cameras, I've really been able to teach and train my eye differently and look at composition differently and look at scenes and scenarios and just life a little differently, which in turn goes back to cinematography and helps me be a better cinematographer. But recently I've been doing more photo stuff than video stuff, and that's just kind of how the balance goes. Some days you're doing photos, some days you're doing videos, but together I'm having the ability to learn all these different things and gain all this knowledge so that I can put it into practice when it comes time. Someone asked me if I want to go 1v1 in basketball, and I don't think you've really seen my basketball skills. But next time you see me, bring a ball because we're going 1v1. Point proven. Favorite spot in Nashville is right here. Is there anywhere you want to travel to for photography? Yes, and it's the photographer's dreamland. It's Iceland. I so badly want to go to Iceland, but it's incredibly expensive and I can't afford it. So, in the meantime, I'm going to Colorado, Mexico, England, and Budapest, and hopefully I can get some amazing shots while I'm in all of those locations. But Iceland, or I think it's Santorini, Greece? It's the place in Greece that is on the coast with all those white homes that are just so kind of dreamy. It just doesn't even look real, so I kind of want to see that from my own eyes. What kind of film camera do you use, and do you prefer using film or DSLR? So for film, I use the Minolta X570, and it is the most basic entry-level film camera. It's all manual, so no autofocus, it's all manual controls. You do have aperture priority mode on the camera, which you can see right there with that little A. So you set that part on this dial to A, and then you have control over the aperture. If you don't know anything about photography, just ignore all that. But this has been great. I got it as a Christmas gift from my parents a couple years ago, but haven't really started using it until this year, and it is my favorite camera right now. My only complaint with it is that it is manual focus, and every time I shoot a roll of film, I get about 50% of the shots back out of focus, because I'm just not very good at manual focusing. So I'm hoping to get an autofocus film camera here in the very, very near future. But for now, this is what I'm gonna take with me to Colorado and Mexico. And because I'm taking this, I got a bunch of rolls of film. So I currently have 9 rolls of film, but when I am out in Colorado and in Mexico, these are the 2 film stocks I'm gonna be shooting on. You've got Ilford HP5 400, and you've got Kodak Color Plus 200. I've never shot the HP5 before. I actually got it just for Mexico specifically, because I kind of have an idea when I go on trips of the shots I want to get, and when I'm in Mexico I kind of want a more noir type of look for some of the shots, so we'll kind of see how that goes. It's all black and white film, so it's my first time shooting black and white, but the Kodak Color Plus 200 is super cheap, and I love the like gold tones that is produced from the film stock directly, so those are the 2 I'm going to be shooting. I also have Fujifilm Extra 400, which is like the basic film stock that you can get at Walmart, but it is pretty good. It's just pretty natural. But I do prefer the stylized look of the Color Plus 200. And when I'm not shooting film, like the stuff I just shot when I was in Nevada this past week, I'm shooting primarily on my A6500 because it does have a 24.2 megapixel sensor in here, in-body image stabilization. This Sigma lens is a 30mm lens, so it's pretty wide for photography, so I don't really do too many portraits, but it's good for the kind of human eye view of what I'm seeing on the streets, and it does a great job with that. It's pretty small, but the image sharpness that comes from this combo is much better than my Canon 80D with my 24-105 f4L lens. Eventually, I'm going to be selling this Canon camera and getting rid of all my Canon stuff, but for now I have both because I have weddings to film and I kind of need 2 cameras because I'm a one-man run and gun show. But if I'm being honest right now, I prefer shooting film. It's got a more deep feeling to it. When I'm shooting stuff with this, I'll probably take 20 shots of the same thing until I get one I like. With film, it's one and done, so I take much more time to set up my shot, take more time to think about my shot, than take the time I need to execute that shot. With this, I do take time to think of what I want to shoot, but I will shoot a lot more because it's just so easy. Long-winded explanation, film is my answer. What are some of your current favorite books you've read? Give me 1 second. So here are all the books I have either finished reading so far as of January 1st or are currently in the process of reading. Most of these I've finished, but I'm still working on a few of them because there are a lot, and there's also one in my car that I finished last week that is not in this pile, but that was so good. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 books in this pile, there's one in the car. I think out of all this stack that I've read so far this year, I think my favorite has been Gospel by J.D. Greer. It's just so good. How do you feel now that Racer Willie 46 is a better diver than you? This question needs to be answered, and that is from someone I have not met in my life, and my brother responded. And they did that because of this. Yeah! Literally today, as I'm filming this video, my brother came to practice and did a dive on 10 meter. For those of you that don't know, my brother is absolutely terrified of heights, and I let him jump off 10 meter one time, I think about a year ago, and he was freaking out. So when he asked me to dive off 10 meter, I was very confused. And then he did it very quickly and very well for a football player. So I think it's safe to say my brother is officially a legend and way cooler than everybody else. And for the final question, this was like a phenomenal question, and one I'm kind of excited to answer. So it is, do you think pursuing a career that you love for less money is worth the possible financial struggle you may face in the future and with a family? And my answer to that is absolutely. There are times in your life where it is absolutely important to be working a 9-to-5 job so that you can support you, your wife, your husband, your kids, your parents, what have you. It is very important that you are doing what you need to survive and to thrive in that environment. But there also comes a time where that can be very draining on your soul, and that can be very destructive to your health. And there comes a point where if you're doing something you hate day in and day out, that's not going to cultivate a healthy heart, that's not going to cultivate a healthy home, that's not going to cultivate a healthy lifestyle. And who cares if you make less money by doing something you enjoy? If you enjoy it, do it, and if you're able to make a living off of it, that's phenomenal. So I do think it is so vitally important that you don't choose a job based on how much money you're going to make, but you choose it based on whether you're passionate about it or have some interest in it at all. Like every job you do, you're not going to be 100% passionate about, but you chose that job because you had some sort of interest in it. And looking back at your life, you're most likely not going to look back and be like, dang, I made a lot of money, but I hated it. You're going to want to be like, yeah, I didn't make much, but like, that was so amazing. That was so incredible. Like, I wouldn't be where I am today without doing that. But all that being said, there is a time and place where you do need to work through those struggle jobs. You do need to show up to that 9-to-5. You do need to do what you need to do to support you, your wife, your husband, your family. Like, you can't neglect those things. But if you are able to survive and have a life and support your family and support your wife and husband doing what you love, do that. If you're making $25,000 less a year, but you know that this job you hate is going to bring stress, hardship, and destruction to your family, don't take that. Take what's going to pay you $25,000 less a year and cultivate a healthy environment. Whew. Heavy question for the last one, but I thought it was so important and so good that I think Tom was his name, that Tom asked that question. So Tom Guggen, thank you for asking that question. That was phenomenal. And thank you to everyone that did ask questions. And again, with the testimony questions and Hillary and I's meetings/story questions, those will come in separate videos in the future because I want to do them differently than just this setup. I just finished editing the entire Q&A. It's 11:45. I was hoping to get to bed by 10. You know, with this inconsistent of a schedule, I could have finished editing tomorrow. No one would have known the difference. I'll see you guys in the next video. I don't know when that'll be. Hopefully soon. That's really reassuring.